The door creaked open like a confession I wasn't ready to hear, slicing through the humid Chicago night air that clung to my skin like regret. Marcus stood there in the dim hallway light of our cramped off-campus apartment. His broad shoulders slumped under the weight of something unspoken, eyes red-rimmed and wild, the kind of look that says a man's world just cracked wide open. "Alex," he whispered, voice breaking like thunder in the distance. "I think I'm losing everything, and I don't even know who the hell I am anymore." I bolted upright in bed, heart slamming against my ribs like it was trying to escape the truth I'd buried for years. The clock on my nightstand glowed 2:17 a.m., mocking the fragile piece I'd scraped together after another day of pretending. Pretending I was just the reliable roommate, the straight-A psych major who aced group projects but choked on his own secrets. Marcus, my best friend since freshman orientation at Northwestern. The golden boy with the easy laugh and the football build that turned heads in any bar on Clark Street, had never looked this broken. Not after his knee blew out junior year, sidelining his dreams of going pro. Not even when his dad walked out on the family back in Milwaukee, leaving behind a trail of unpaid bills and a mom who chain-smoked her way through grief. But tonight, as he stepped inside and let the door click shut behind him, I knew this was different. This was the kind of fracture that didn't heal with ice packs or beer runs. He collapsed onto the edge of my mattress, the springs groaning under his 200 pounds, and buried his face in his hands. The scent of rain-soaked flannel and faint cologne, that same woodsy stuff he'd worn since high school, filled the room, stirring memories I'd locked away. Late-night study sessions in the library where his knee would brush mine under the table, accidental touches that lingered a beat too long. "Talk to me, man," I said, my voice steadier than I felt, reaching out to grip his shoulder. His muscles tensed under my palm, warm and solid, and for a split second, I let myself imagine this was the moment everything shifted. But then he looked up, those storm-gray eyes locking onto mine, and the words tumbled out like they'd been dammed up for too long. "It's Billy," he choked out, the name hitting me like a sucker punch. Billy Hargrove, our mutual friend from the frat days, the one who'd crashed on our couch more times than I could count, always with that cocky grin and stories from his Wall Street internship that made us all dream bigger. I saw him tonight at that dive on Division. With that guy from the gym. They were all over each other, Alex, kissing like it was nothing. And then he looked right at me and said, "Your secret's safe with me." Mark, what the fuck does that even mean? My stomach twisted into knots. Billy. Of all people. The guy who'd teased me mercilessly about my artistic crushes on indie film stars. The one who dragged Marcus to those straight-laced tailgates while I nursed my hidden longings in the shadows. If Billy knew something, anything about Marcus, could unravel everything. Our trio had been unbreakable, me, the quiet observer, Marcus, the heart, Billy, the spark. But secrets have a way of igniting in the dark. And as Marcus's breath hitched, spilling the details of that rain-slicked alley confrontation, I realized this night wasn't just about him. It was about us. All of us. And the honesty we'd been dodging since the day we met. The rain pattered harder against the window, a relentless drumbeat underscoring his words. Marcus had run into Billy after a solo shift at the coffee shop where he pulled doubles to cover tuition. His mom's alimony checks from Dad barely stretched to rent back home. Billy, flush from some bonus or another, had bought a round for the house, playing the big shot as always. But when the bar thinned out, he'd cornered Marcus outside, cigarette dangling from his lips, that predatory gleam in his eye. You think you're so straight arrow, don't you? Billy had slurred, stepping too close. I've seen how you look at Alex. Like he's the only one who gets it. Marcus had shoved him back, fists clenched. But Billy just laughed, low and knowing, before pulling that gym rat into the shadows for a show that left Marcus reeling. I froze. Alex, Marcus admitted, his voice raw, fingers raking through his damp blonde hair. Like, what if he's right? What if I've been lying to myself this whole time? Dad always said I was too soft, too emotional. Mom cries every time we talk about him leaving, says I remind her too much of the man he used to be before he found himself with that woman in Ohio. He paused, swallowing hard, the vulnerability etching lines into his face that made him look older than 23. And you? God, you're always there, steady as hell, picking up the pieces when I fall apart. If there's something more, would you even want that? Or am I just screwing up the best friendship I've got? The question hung in the air, heavier than the storm outside, and my throat tightened around the confession I'd rehearsed 1,000 times in the shower, staring at the fogged mirror like it held answers. I wanted to tell him everything. How I'd fallen for him that first week of college, when he defended me from a drunk jock's homophobic slur at a kegger, his arm slung protectively over my shoulders. How every shared pizza and road trip to the Indiana dunes had been torture and bliss wrapped in one. But fear clamped down, whispering that straight guys like Marcus didn't cross that line. Not without regret. Not without losing it all. Instead, I shifted closer, our knees knocking, and murmured, "You're not screwing anything up. Billy's an asshole when he's loaded, always has been. Remember that time he ghosted us after finals? This is just him stirring shit because he's got his own demons." It was a half-truth, buying time, but Marcus nodded, leaning into the contact like a man starved for anchor. We sat like that for what felt like hours, the city humming beyond the walls, sirens wailing, distant laughter from late-night wanderers, while he unpacked the weight of his family's fractures. Dad's abandonment had left scars. The way Marcus overcompensated with charm, the buried rage that flared in quiet moments. And now, this seed of doubt Billy had planted, questioning not just his gaze on me, but his entire self. By dawn, the rain had eased to a drizzle, gray light filtering through the blinds like hesitant forgiveness. Marcus had dozed off against my headboard, his breathing even, hand limp across the sheets inches from mine. I didn't sleep. How could I? With the echo of his words carving canyons in my chest? Billy's betrayal, if that's what it was, had cracked the facade, forcing us toward a precipice. But as I watched Marcus's face soften in repose, the faint stubble shadowing his jaw, I felt a spark of something fierce. Hope, maybe. Or the reckless courage that comes from loving in silence too long. Whatever came next, we couldn't go back. Honesty wasn't a choice anymore. It was the only path through the storm. Morning broke over Evanston like a reluctant apology, the lakefront fog rolling in off Lake Michigan to blur the edges of our world. I slipped out of bed careful not to wake Marcus, padding to the kitchen in socks that muffled my steps on the scuffed linoleum. Coffee brewed with a gurgle that sounded too loud in the quiet, black and bitter like the thoughts churning in my head. Billy. That smug bastard had always danced on the line between brother and bully, his charm a weapon he wielded with precision. Growing up in the same Milwaukee suburb as Marcus, he'd latched onto us in high school, the rich kid with the vintage Mustang and a dad who owned half the breweries in town. To me, he'd been the wild card, The one who made Marcus laugh until his sides hurt, but also the shadow that reminded me I was the outsider, the gay kid from the wrong side of the tracks whose mom waitress doubles at the Pfister Hotel. I scrolled through my phone while the pot dripped, thumb hovering over Billy's last text from 2 nights ago. Yo, poker night at mine? Bring the good whiskey. Mark's buying, casual as ever, like he hadn't just lit a match in Marcus's soul. Part of me wanted to call him out, demand what the hell he meant by that alley whisper. But confrontation wasn't my style. I analyzed, I observed, I buried. Psych major perks. Instead, I texted Marcus's phone, still charging on my dresser. A simple coffee's on. You good? No response yet. He stirred as I carried 2 mugs back, blinking awake with that boyish disorientation that always tugged at me. Shit. What time is it? He mumbled, rubbing his eyes, the blanket pooling around his waist like an afterthought. He looked wrecked, hair a mess, flannel untucked, but there was a clarity in his gaze now, post-storm calm. I handed him the mug, our fingers brushing, and ignored the jolt that shot up my arm. 9. Class in an hour, but we can bail if you need. He took a long sip, wincing at the heat. Nah. Psych seminar? You live for that Freudian bullshit. A ghost of his grin flickered, but it faded fast. About last night. I didn't mean to dump all that on you. It's just Billy's got a way of getting under my skin. Always has. But if he's onto something, I gotta figure it out. For me. For us. The word landed soft, loaded, and I nodded too quickly, busying myself with my own coffee to hide the flush creeping up my neck. We dressed in companionable silence, the routine of fragile normalcy. Him in his faded Huskies tee and jeans that hugged his thighs just right, me in button-down and chinos, the armor of academia. Campus was a short L ride away, the L rattling through the loop with its symphony of street preachers and buskers. Marcus stared out the window, jaw set, while I stole glances, memorizing the way sunlight caught the gold in his stubble. By the time we hit the quad, all maples and Gothic spires, the weight had shifted, not lifted, but shared. Seminar dragged. Dr. Ramirez droning on about attachment theory while my mind replayed Marcus's confession on loop. Secure, anxious, avoidant, which were we, after we grabbed falafel from the truck by the lake, sitting on a bench overlooking the choppy water. Gulls wheeling overhead like indifferent witnesses. Remember that summer after sophomore year? Marcus said suddenly, wiping tahini from his chin. The road trip to Yellowstone? Billy drove like a maniac, blasting Springsteen, and we got stuck in that blizzard outside Billings. I laughed, the memory sharp. Yeah. And you two argued over who got the sleeping bag while I froze my ass off in the tent. Brothers before. Whatever. The almost slip hung there, but he didn't notice, launching into how Billy had confessed his own family mess that night. Dad's affairs. Mom's Valium haze. He said it made him chase highs. You know? Fast cars. Faster hookups. Wonder if that's why he pulled that stunt last night. Misery loves company. Or he's projecting, I offered, the therapist in me kicking in. Billy's always been the king of deflection. But Marcus, whatever he thinks he saw, it doesn't define you. You're the guy who volunteers at the shelter every weekend, who calls his mom twice a week just to check in. That's who you are. He met my eyes then, something raw flickering there. Gratitude, maybe more. What would I do without you? Alex, seriously. His hand landed on my knee, brief but electric, before he pulled back to toss his wrapper in the bin. We walked back to the L in the crisp autumn wind, leaves crunching underfoot, shoulders bumping in that easy rhythm we'd perfected over years. But beneath it, the undercurrent pulled stronger, Billy's words a siren call to the truths we'd skirted. That evening, the apartment buzzed with unspoken tension. Marcus hit the gym, pounding the treadmill like it owed him answers, while I buried myself in a paper on queer identity in mid-century lit. Ironic, given my own closet. When he returned, sweat slicked and spent, Billy's text lit up his phone. Heard you bailed last night. Everything cool? Beers on me tomorrow. Marcus showed me, brow furrowed. Should I call him out? My pulse spiked. Your call. But if you do, I'm there. Solidarity or self-preservation. The line blurred. He pocketed the phone with a sigh. Tomorrow. Tonight. Pizza and that dumb horror flick you love? No deep talks. We ordered from Giordano's. Deep dish loaded. The kind that leaves cheese strings trailing like regrets. Curled on the couch, him manspreading, me tucked against the armrest, the movie flickered, zombies shambling across the screen. But focus fractured. His laughter at the jump scares felt forced, my commentary trailing off into silence. Halfway through, he paused it, turning to me with that intensity again. Alex, hypothetically, if I wasn't as straight as I thought, would that change things? Between us, the room shrank, air thick. I swallowed, heart a war drum. Hypothetically? No. It'd make them clearer. Honesty, raw and terrifying. He searched my face, then nodded, unpausing the film like we'd sealed a pact. But as the credits rolled and he headed to his room with a quiet night, man, I lay awake, replaying it. Billy's shadow loomed larger, a catalyst forcing fractures to the surface. And in the quiet, I admitted to myself, I was ready to leap, if he would. The next day dawned sharper, the city skyline jagged against a cloudless sky as we headed to meet Billy at his sleek Lakeview condo. Daddy's money, all glass and leather. Marcus gripped the steering wheel of his beat-up Civic white-knuckled. Radio off, the hum of traffic our only companion. Just want answers, he muttered. I squeezed his arm. Brief anchor. You've got this. Billy answered the door in designer sweats, grin wide as the Mississippi. Mark, Alex, come in, come in. Brews in the fridge, IPAs from that microbrew in Wicker Park. The place screamed success. Views of the lake. Abstract art on walls that probably cost more than our rent. We settled in the living room, the tension coiling like smoke. Small talk flowed, internship gossip. Bears losing streak, until Billy leaned back. Eyes sly. So, last night. You bolted quick. Something I said. Marcus set his bottle down. Deliberate. Yeah. About Alex. What the hell was that? Billy's laugh was a bark. But his gaze flicked to me. Calculating. Just messing. Bro. You two are thick as thieves. But come on. The way you hover? It's cute. The word landed wrong. Laced with edge. And Marcus flushed. Leaning forward. Not messing if it's got you spying in alleys. Kissing dudes to prove a point. The air crackled. Billy's facade slipped. Smirk fading to something colder. Spying? Please. I saw you watching. Mark. That longing look. It's the same one Alex gives you when he thinks no one's paying attention. He turned to me then, triumphant. Right, buddy? Or should I say something more? Betrayal hit like ice water. Billy knew. About me. How? Stolen glances at parties? That one drunk voicemail I'd left years ago. Deleted in panic? Marcus whipped to me, confusion etching his features. Alex. I froze, words deserting. Billy pressed, voice low. Told you, Mark. Secrets don't stay buried in this city. The room spun, friendships fracturing in the harsh light. Marcus stood, chair scraping. Fuck this. We're out. But as we stormed to the door, Billy's parting shot echoed. Run all you want. Truth catches up. Outside, the wind off the lake bit deep, mirroring the chill between us. Marcus drove in silence, jaw clenched, until he pulled over near Belmont Harbor, tires crunching gravel. Did he? Is it true? About you looking at me? The dam broke. Yeah, I whispered, staring at the water's dark churn. For years. But I never. Stop, he cut me off. Not angry, but aching. Why didn't you say? Tears pricked my eyes. Because losing you scared me more than silence. He reached across, hand on mine, warm and real. You won't lose me. Not ever. In that parking lot, with sailboats bobbing like forgotten dreams, we held on, first bridge to honesty, fragile but forming. The days blurred into a tense limbo after the blow-up with Billy, Chicago's relentless pace mirroring the churn in our lives. Marcus threw himself into shifts at the shop, steaming lattes with a ferocity that had customers double-taking, while I hid in the library stacks, devouring texts on relational dynamics like they held the code to mending us. Texts from him were sporadic. Miss our dumb movie nights or grab tacos after? Each one a lifeline, but laced with caution. We were tiptoeing now, around the elephant that Billy had unleashed, the air between us electric with what-ifs. One crisp Thursday, as frost etched the apartment windows, Marcus cornered me in the kitchen post-jog, towel around his neck, breath still ragged. We need to talk. For real. No hypotheticals. His eyes, earnest in the fluorescent glow, pinned me. I nodded, heart jackhammering, and we migrated to the living room, the sagging couch our confessional. He started slow, unpacking the family ghosts. Dad's abrupt exit when Marcus was 16. The rumors of another life with a man in Cleveland before the Ohio detour, whispers Marcus had dismissed as small-town BS. Made me double down. You know? Prove I was the son he could be proud of. Straight, strong, uncomplicated. I listened, fingers twisting in my lap, the vulnerability in his voice unraveling me. When he paused, I shared my side, the closet I'd built brick by brick, coming out to Mom at 17 over her famous pierogies. Her hug fierce and unspoken. Love's love, kiddo. But with Marcus, it was different. Deeper. That road trip, I admitted, voice cracking, when we watched the stars from the hood of the car, Billy snoring in the back, I almost said it then. How you made the world feel less lonely. He absorbed it, hand inching toward mine until our palms met, calluses rough against smooth. I felt it too, he confessed, thumb tracing my knuckle. Those brushes, the way your laugh hits different. Thought it was just bro love, amplified. But Billy, he forced me to see it's more. Scary as hell more. We sat there, hands linked, the city drone fading to a hush. No kisses, no grand gestures, just the quiet power of naming the unspoken. By night's end, he'd crashed on my couch again, a habit reborn, and I fell asleep to the rhythm of his breathing, hope flickering like a pilot light. Billy, though, wasn't done poisoning the well. His texts escalated, apologies laced with barbs. Didn't mean to out anyone. Just hate seeing you blind. Mark. Then voicemails. Slurred at 1 a.m. Call me, asshole. We were brothers. Marcus deleted them, but the doubt seeped in, manifesting in his restless nights, the way he'd pull away mid-hug like burned. I saw it in his eyes during our tentative dates. Wait, were they dates now? Coffee runs turned lingering walks along the mag mile, hands brushing in crowds, conversations dipping into dreams. His of coaching high school ball, mine of grad school counseling queer youth in Boys Town. The conflict crested that weekend at a Huskies game tailgate, the air thick with charcoal smoke and bravado. Billy showed, uninvited, weaving through the sea of maroon with a six-pack and that disarming smile. Our circle, frat remnants, psych nerds, cheered as he slapped backs, but when he zeroed in on us by the grill, the vibe soured. Look at you two, he drawled, popping a top. All cozy. Finally fessed up. Marcus tensed beside me, burger forgotten. Drop it, Bill. We're good. But Billy wouldn't, his voice dropping conspiratorial. Good, Mark? Your old man's calling. Wants to know why you're dodging family Thanksgiving. Said something about phases. Sound familiar? The jab landed low, dredging Dad's ghost. Marcus paled, fists balling. How do you even? Overheard your ma on the phone last week. She's worried, man. Thinks you're exploring like your pops. Lies or not, the stung. Billy's eyes gleaming with the thrill of fracture. I stepped in, voice steady. Enough. You're not family, Billy. Not anymore. The crowd hushed, sensing the rift, and Billy's mask cracked, hurt flashing before anger. Fine. Playhouse. But when it blows up, don't say I didn't warn you. He stormed off into the throng, leaving us adrift amid cheers and clinking bottles. Marcus excused us early, the drive home silent save for the wipers swiping at a sudden squall. At the apartment, he punched the wall, once, sharp paint chipping like trust. He's right about one thing, he growled, nursing bruised knuckles under cold water. Dad's been emailing. Wants to talk man-to-man. What if he's pulling me back into that bullshit? I bandaged him gently, our faces inches apart in the tiny bathroom, steam from the sink fogging the mirror. Then we face it. Together. You're not him, Marcus. You're you, kind, fierce, real. He leaned his forehead to mine, breath mingling. Promise you won't let me fuck this up? Promise? I whispered. And in that tiled sanctuary, we held each other, bodies close but chaste, the intimacy emotional, profound. It was the deepest we'd gone, souls brushing where skin dared not yet. Monday brought grad school apps for me, rejection emails stacking like indictments, while Marcus aced a midterm, his focus laser sharp. We celebrated with Thai takeout on the fire escape, city lights twinkling below like co-conspirators. Laughter flowed freer, stories veering tender. His first crush on a lifeguard, mine on a theater kid in high school. But Billy's specter lingered. A text to me that night, blocked from Marcus, reading, "He's using you to rebel. Wake up." I deleted it, but sleep evaded, the betrayal festering. Was Billy protecting, or destroying, his own queerness, hidden behind bluster, made him a mirror Marcus feared? Midweek, Marcus's phone rang, unknown number. He answered on speaker, my nod urging. Dad's voice, gravelly from years of smokes and regrets. "Son, your mother's beside herself. This phase with your roommate. It's not you." Marcus's face drained. "It's not a phase. Dad. Alex's family. More than you ever were." Click. The line went dead, but the echo reverberated. He crumpled, and I pulled him close on the floor, rocking like we'd lost a child. "He doesn't get to define us," I murmured into his hair. "We do." That night marked our first real boundary. A chaste kiss on the cheek, his lips soft against my stubble, sealing the shift. Romantic, yes, but rooted in humanity, in choosing love over fear. Yet as we parted for bed, Billy's warning whispered, the high tide of honesty could drown us yet. The climax brewed over the following weeks, autumn deepening to winter's bite. Marcus's mom visited, her Milwaukee warmth clashing with our urban chill, pierogies in the crock pot, stories of my boys that mended some fractures. She hugged me fierce at the airport drop-off, whispering, "Take care of him, Alex. He's always needed you." Tears stung. Acceptance from her felt like absolution. But Billy escalated, cornering Marcus after a volunteer shift at the youth center. "I got the call," Marcus's voice shaking. He told them. "The kids. About us. Said it was educational." Rage boiled. The center, our sanctuary for at-risk LGBTQ+ teens, twisted by gossip. We raced there, finding Billy holding court in the lounge, his lessons a mishmash of half-truths and barbs. "See? Even straight dudes question," he proclaimed to wide-eyed faces. Marcus burst in, voice thunder. "Get out. You're done here." The room froze, teens glancing between us, heroes in their eyes now villains in drama. Billy stood, sneering. "Truth hurts. Mark. Your dad's coming to town. Wants to save you. Bet he'll love this show." The betrayal crested Billy, outed by his own desperation, lashing at the bond he envied. Fists flew, Marcus's swing glancing Billy's jaw, before counselors pulled them apart. In the chaos, a teen, Jamal, the quiet one with the poetry notebook, grabbed my arm. "It's okay. We see you. All of you, humanity amid the storm." We left Billy barred, bruises blooming, but the damage seeped. Whispers at school, Dad's plane ticket confirmed. Marcus withdrew, guilt gnawing. "I dragged you into this mess," I cupped his face. "We chose it. Together, in the quiet aftermath. Our love deepened, conversations by candlelight, dreams shared under quilts, emotional intimacy the truest romance. Yet the peak loomed, Dad's arrival, a showdown in our living room, Billy's machinations the fuse. Winter clamped down on Chicago like a vice, snow drifts piling against our building stoop, turning the sidewalk into a treacherous maze. Marcus's dad's arrival loomed like a nor'easter, flight from Cleveland Landing at O'Hare. A rental Impala pointed our way. We'd prepped in fits and starts, rehearsed lines over lukewarm diner coffee, mapped escape routes in case words turned to blows. But deep down, we knew this wasn't about scripts. It was excavation, unearthing the rot Dad had left behind. The knock came at dusk, precise as a metronome, 6:15 p.m., right after Marcus's shift. I buzzed him up, heart thudding, while Marcus paced the hall in his best button-down, sleeves rolled to hide the fading bruises from Billy's brawl. Dad entered like he owned the place. Tall, weathered in a camel coat, salt and pepper hair slicked, eyes the same gray as his son's but hardened by choices. "Marcus," he boomed, pulling him into a stiff hug. His gaze flicked to me, appraising, "Cool. Alex, right? Heard a lot." The lot hung barbed, Billy's fingerprints all over it. We settled in the living room, takeout tie steaming on the coffee table, neutral ground. No home-cooked illusions. Small talk skated surface. Marcus's grades, my grad apps, the Bears' playoff choke. But tension coiled, Dad's glances sharpening. Finally, he set down his fork. "Son, your mother's worried sick. This arrangement with Alex is not healthy. Reminds me of my own mistakes." Marcus stiffened, fork clattering. "Mistakes? Like ditching us for your midlife crisis." The air thinned, oxygen sucked out. Dad's jaw ticked. "I left to find peace. That man in Cleveland, he was a detour, a weakness. Cost me everything. Don't make the same error." I sat frozen, the room tilting. Detour? The rumors solidified. Dad's bisexuality. Buried under denial. Exploding the family. Marcus's voice rose. "Bro. So what? You think I'm weak too? For loving who I love?" Dad recoiled. "Love? This is confusion. Boy." Billy called, said you're rebelling, using Alex as a crutch. Billy again. The serpent in our garden. His betrayal metastasizing. Marcus surged up, chair toppling. "Billy's a liar. He outed us to kids. Started fights. All 'cause he can't handle his own shit." Dad stood too, faces inches apart, echoes of a lifetime's grievances. "And you're better? Hiding behind this. Whatever it is." The dam burst. Marcus shoved him. Not hard, but enough, and Dad stumbled, coat flapping. "Get out," Marcus growled. "You're not my family." "Alex is." Dad straightened, eyes wet, voice cracking. "I came to help. To warn you." But the plea fell flat. "Years too late." He grabbed his keys, pausing at the door. "Think on it, son." Blood's thicker. The latch clicked, final as a guillotine. Silence crashed in, Marcus sinking to the floor, sobs racking. I knelt, arms enveloping, his tears soaking my shirt. "He's wrong," I murmured, rocking us. "You're strong. We're strong." He clung, whispers fracturing. "What if he's right? What if I am broken?" The vulnerability pierced, our romance tested in grief's forge. We stayed there till midnight, words weaving repair, affirmations, memories of joy amid pain. No passion's fire, but love's steady hearth, human, healing. Dawn brought resolve. Marcus texted Billy, "Stay out of our lives." Done. Blocked. Erased. But fallout rippled. Mom's call, voice trembling, relaying Dad's rage-fueled rant. "He'll come around, baby. Give him time." We didn't. Boundaries set, Space carved. Campus buzzed with rumors. Billy's loose lips. But our circle rallied. Jamal from the center sending a card. Heroes heal. Proud of you. Winter thawed unevenly, mirroring us. Dates bloomed tentative. Ice skating at Millennium Park. Mittened hands linked. Laughter echoing off the bean. Marcus opened more, his fluid attractions. A spectrum he'd glimpsed in quiet moments. Never labeled till now. Pan. Maybe, he mused over hot cocoa. But you're my north. I shared too, fears of abandonment. Dreams of a life beyond diplomas. Romance flowered emotional. Poetry read aloud. Letters slipped under doors. Touches lingering chaste but charged. Yet conflict simmered. Billy resurfaced via mutuals. A party invite laced with make amends. Marcus wavered, old loyalties tugging. One talk, he said. Closure. I nodded. Trust our glue. The loft party in Pilsen pulsed with bass and bodies. Graffiti walls closing in. Billy waited in a corner. Contrite in dim light. Mark. I fucked up. Jealous. Okay. Seeing you too. It hit my own crap. Honesty cracked him open. His hookups. A boyfriend ghosted. Fear of dad's judgment mirroring Marcus's. Thought exposing you would free me. Stupid. Apology flowed. Tentative bridge. But as Marcus extended a hand, Billy pulled him into a hug. Too tight. Too long. I watched from afar. Unease stirring. Later, in the cab home, Marcus recounted absolution. He's trying, but my gut twisted. Betrayal's echo. Spring hinted, crocuses pushing snow, as grad acceptances landed. Mine to you of C's counseling program, Marcus to a coaching cert. Celebrations intimate. Rooftop picnic. Skyline aglow. Toasts with cheap bubbly. There, under stars, he kissed me. Proper. Soft. Foreheads touching after. I love you, Alex. Not despite. Because. Tears mingled. Joy pure. Human love. Flawed and full. But shadows lengthened. Dad emailed Marcus. Coming back. Therapy. Let's try. Hope flickered. But Billy's final twist waited. A leaked photo from the party. Us three hugging. Captioned reunited. Online trolls pounced. Slashing old wounds. Marcus raged. Deleting socials. But the breach deepened our bond, vows whispered in dark. Us against it all. Summer unfurled sticky and unforgiving. Chicago's humidity turning the air to soup. Mirroring the slow simmer of our evolving normal. Marcus and I navigated the newness with cautious grace. Mornings tangled in sheets. Not carnal but companionable. Coffee breaths mingling over crosswords. Evenings on the L. Thighs pressed in crowded cars. Silent affirmations. Romance was in the mundane. Him taping my thesis notes to the fridge. Me packing his gym bag with protein bars and that lucky keychain from Yellowstone. We were building, brick by deliberate brick, a life from honesty's rubble. Billy's photo leak had viral half-life, a week of DM vitriol, then fade but it scarred. Marcus withdrew into coaching clinics, whistle around neck, barking drills at underprivileged kids on cracked courts in Englewood. Channeling dad's better side, he'd say, sweat-soaked after. I dove into program prep, shadowing at a Boys Town clinic, counseling teens whose stories echoed mine. Hidden crushes, family fractures. Jamal interned there too, his poetry now open mic fodder, crediting us, You showed me labels don't cage. Dad's promised return materialized mid-July. A lunch at Shaw's Crab House. Neutral turf. White tablecloths a buffer. Marcus insisted I come. Hand under the table squeezing mine like talisman. Dad arrived subdued. No coat. Just khakis and a polo strained over paunch. I softer around the edges. Therapies. Eye-opening. He admitted over oysters. Voice gruff. Turns out I was running from myself. Panicked at the feelings. Hurt your mom worst. Marcus nodded. Guarded. Hurt us all. The talk meandered raw. Dad's Cleveland affair. A man named Tom. Tender. Then toxic. The Ohio woman a rebound. Empty. Thought straight would fix it. Didn't. Vulnerability cracked his armor. And Marcus leaned in. Me and Alex. It's real. Not rebellion. Dad glanced at me, praising anew. See that now. Proud. Son. If he'll have me. The olive branch trembled. Marcus took it. Tentative. Time. But yeah, I stayed quiet. Witness to mending. Heart swelling at Marcus's grace. Post-lunch. Walking Michigan Avenue's bustle. He exhaled. Didn't expect that. Feels possible. I kissed his temple. Public and unashamed. You made it possible, Billy. Meanwhile, spiraled silent. Rumors of a job quit. A move to New York. Then a letter arrived. Handwritten on monogram stationery. Mark. Alex, I was the villain 'cause I feared the mirror. Therapy now. Facing the mess. Forgive. Not asking easy. Just. No, I see you. Enclosed. A check for the center. Anonymous donation. Marcus read it aloud over dinner. Voice thick. Part of me hates him. Part gets it. We burned it in the sink. Flames curling words to ash. Release. Not revenge. August heat peaked. Our anniversary unmarked but felt. 1 year since that rainy night. We escaped to the dunes. Civic rattling I-94. Springsteen on loop, irony noted. Sand stretched endless. Waves lapping Lake Michigan's shore like confessions. We hiked trails. Hands linked. Pausing at overlooks to name fears. Mine. Of grad school's grind eroding us, his. Of Dad's relapse. We'll anchor, he vowed. Pulling me down to blanket spread picnic. Sun dipped. Painting sky fire. And we talked futures. Cozy Wicker Park brownstone. Rescue dog named Scout. Maybe kids via surrogacy someday. Dreams human scale. Laced with love's quiet power. Back in the city. Conflict reignited subtle. Marcus's coaching offer from a Milwaukee high school. Full-time. Pulling toward roots. Closer to mom, he said. But hesitation shadowed. What about us? Chicago's your world. I paced our balcony. Skyline mocking. It's our world. But family. Go if it calls. Torn. He deferred. But tension threaded nights, arguments over smalls. Silences heavy. Billy's redemption arc twisted then. A call to Marcus. In town. Coffee? No drama. Curiosity won. I tagged along to a Wrigleyville cafe. Vines creeping walls. Billy looked gaunt. Suit rumpled. Eyes clear. Sober 6 weeks, he shared. Stirring black. Lost the job crack up. But owning it, the jealousy, the sabotage. You too? Envy that solidity. Apology poured. Detailed. The alley kiss a ploy to provoke. the photo a desperate grasp for relevance. Hurt you to feel less alone in mine, Marcus absorbed. Then, why us? Billy shrugged. You were my safe space. Screwed it. Forgiveness flickered, not full, but foothold. Work on it, Marcus said, standing. Outside, he turned to me. Closure feels good. I nodded, but unease lingered. Billy's gaze on us held hunger, old patterns lurking. Fall semester loomed, leaves turning gold. When the real storm hit, Dad's heart scare, mild attack, hospital in Cleveland. Marcus flew out, me following days later. Waiting room sterile, Mom's hand in mine. We braced. Dad pulled through, weak in bed, tubes snaking. Knew you'd come, he rasped to Marcus. Love you, kid. Tears fell. Reconciliations whispered. Back in Chicago, Marcus grieved the lost years. Leaning on me fierce, nights curled. Stories of boyhood joys amid pains. Our love deepened in crisis's wake. Emotional bedrock. Billy's final betrayal brewed insidious. An email to Dad. Concerned friend guys. Warning of Marcus's lifestyle risks. Dad forwarded it. Furious. That boy's poison. Marcus confronted. Voicemail venom. Last chance. Bill. Back off. Response. Crickets. But damage done, trust frayed anew. As snow dusted again, Marcus accepted the Milwaukee gig. Compromise. Commute. A splitting time. Not losing you, he affirmed. Ringless proposal in intent. Romance peaked in quiet. Holiday lights strung. Carols hummed off-key. Yet climax hovered Billy's shadow. Dad's fragility. Our pull apart. Winter's grip loosened grudgingly. Chicago emerging from its chrysalis into a tentative spring. Buds swelling on State Street elms like promises half-kept. Marcus's commute began. Dawn trains to Milwaukee. Evenings reverse. Our bed often half-empty but heart full. We adapted with the resilience of lovers forged in fire. Video calls laced with inside jokes. Weekends hoarding in the apartment. Cooking chili that stained lips red. The distance sharpened longing. Not lust. Notes tucked in duffels. Playlists curated for lonely rides. Human bonds. Stretched but unbreakable. Dad stabilized. Weekly calls threading tentative family. Recipes from Mom. Fishing tales from him. Learning to listen, he'd say. Voice steadier. Billy vanished, New York confirmed. A ghost story traded at brunches. His betrayal. Once venom. Now cautionary. We blocked. Moved on. But scars schooled us in vigilance. My grad program swallowed days. Case studies on identity resilience. Seminars debating love's neurochemistry. Marcus thrived coaching. Molding a ragtag team into contenders. His passion radiant. These kids, he'd beam post-game. Jersey grass-stained. They remind me of us, raw. Reaching. Pride swelled. Our story echoed in their triumphs. Mentoring from afar. Conflict crested soft. Insidious. A Milwaukee recruit's parent. Homophobic tirade post-victory. Slinging slurs at Marcus's city distractions. Rumor mill churned. Billy's fingerprints? No proof. But echo chilled. Marcus confided over a rare midweek rendezvous at our spot. The 312 urban wheat flowing golden. Feels like starting over. Again, I traced his hand. Then we rewrite the ending. The peak arrived unannounced. Dad's visit to a game. Stands packed. Air electric with spring fever. Marcus spotted him pre-tip. Wave hesitant. Halftime. They huddled courtside. Words lost in roar but gestures mending. Shoulder clap. Nod shared. Post-win. Over beers at a brew pub. Dad raised glass. Proud, son, of the man you're building. To me, and you, thank you. Absolution. Hard one. Billy's coda came via postcard. NYC skyline. Scrawl brief. Found my piece. Yours suits you. B, no apology, but peace offered. Marcus pinned it to fridge. Relic of ruin to reminder of grace. Summer solstice. We drove to the dunes again. Anniversary redux. Blanket spread where stars once witnessed vows. Fireflies danced. Lake whispered. And Marcus turned. Eyes lake deep. Marry me? Not tomorrow, but soon. Build that life, brownstone. Scout. All. Kneeling in sand. Ring simple silver from his pocket. Engraved honesty's anchor. Tears blurred. Yes. Mine a vow renewed. Kisses followed, tender, exploratory, but the story's heart emotional. Love is choice. Daily. We wed that fall in a Boys Town courthouse. Jamal best man. Mom beaming. Dad teary. Vows human. In storms and stillness. I choose you. Reception backyard potluck. Pierogies. Chili. Laughter healing. Years wove forward. My clinic thrived. Counseling waves of Jamals. Marcus's teams won states. His book on inclusive coaching a quiet hit. Dad visited often. Tom met once. Awkward, then warm. Billy, holiday card yearly. Distance cordial. Our tale, no fairy dust, but profound. From a midnight door ajar to honesty's wide horizon. In America's heart, amid lakes and lights, two men found not perfection, but each other flawed, fierce, forever.